All right, and
Let me get
before
my notes.
anything, spoilers. If you have not yet read A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Thorns and Roses, we love you. We'll see you next week. Leave, because we are going to do a deep dive.
Yes, I have completed A Court of Mist and Fury, and first things first, if we're gonna put a rating on it, I'm giving it like a 9.2. Like, I adored this book, especially after, if you guys have been following our book talk series, I was not a fan of A Court of Thorns and Roses until the end of the book, which I think a lot of people feel, but I was like genuinely like, I'm not really enjoying this book and I don't know why my friends are making me read it. And then now that I've finished A Court of Mist and Fury, I am already about 40 pages into A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Yes.
So I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
That's what I feel like is so different about this series, because I feel like a lot of the series I read, again, when we talked about like pre-show, like young adult, like I feel like a lot of series are like the first book, and then it's like trying to build off of the first book.
It's like
where this series, the first book is just the flame that starts the fire. Like,
yes, 100%.
Right?
100%. And I want people, like, if you are sticking around, even though there's spoilers to this book, and you guys do want to read these books, like, muscle through it. Because it took me a while it took me like 6 weeks to get through A Court of Thorns and Roses. It took me, like 2.5 weeks to get through A Court of Mist and Fury.
That book is triple the amount of pages.
It's huge. It's fucking huge. But just, you could battle through it. It's very worth it, at least just for the second book. I'm started in the third, and I'm liking it so far. So
I love, actually, when I finished the third, I was like, this is my favorite book in the series. I loved that book. Now that I've had time to reflect, I was wrong, and Mist and Fury is by far my favorite. All incredible, like fantastic. I just loved like the evolution in A Court of Mist and Fury, and like looking back now, there are so many parallels. Like eventually one day I want to go back and reread, because do you remember when, now that you know everything, do you remember back when Feyre met Rhys for the first time, and his first words to her were, "I've been looking for you."
When he's okay, wait, let's get into this.
Let's get into it. This is like an hour and 20-minute long episode.
Yeah, so it's an hour long for everybody else. It's an hour and 20 minutes for the BOOKTAWK people. Yeah, so obviously I just have to go on. I would just like to go on the record that, and Jordyn knows this, Kat knows this. While I was reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, I did not like Tamlin. And everybody were saying like, "Oh no, you love it. You have to, like, he's in love with her and blah blah blah, and they're so perfect for each other and blah blah." And I was just like, get in a vibe. And I said, I don't like this man. And every time I typed his name out on my phone, it changed it to Tampon. And I was like, perfect. I'm not even changing it.
Valid. Yep. Nope. He's Tampon.
And at the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses, I still was like, they're happily together? ? I don't know. But it was because when Rhys came into the picture, I adored him immediately. And obviously, getting now into A Court of Mist and Fury towards the end of the book, when you find out that they are indeed mates, and
when like how she found out too, I was like,
when he said, like, when the Suriel said that, I was just like, I literally like, I shut my book and I like opened it back up and I was like,
because do you remember when he said, "Stay with the High Lord"?
Yes, he said the High Lord, but not that High Lord. The High Lord. The most powerful High Lord in all of Prython. So I was like, yes. I love this. And of course, I understood why she was angry for a little bit, but like, it wasn't an annoying kind of angry. Like, like sometimes things like that happen and you're like, those people are like angry for like way too long and you're just like, get the fuck over yourself and like figure it out. And when she went up into that cabin and like, I was like waiting for him to show up. I was like, he's gonna find her. Like, they're mates. That like, they're gonna find each other and like, it's gonna be great. And when she opened that door and he was there, and I was just like, it's about to go down. down.
I wish
And it did.
it went down. Chapter 54 and chapter 55 are
Works of art.
ingrained in my memory for all of existence.
Just it was like it's so many pages of just like the banter, the flirtatiousness, like this and that, and then when he has to go to a court of nightmares, and she's like supposed to be like kind of like his like slave, like his like sexy slave. I I was literally like, please, just. I was like, I don't even care who's here right now. I don't care if you're in the middle of public. Like, please, just succumb to this man. I need it. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I have to confess something.
Okay.
I was at Brian's parents' house
during that scene,
reading that scene, and I literally was like sweating. His mom and dad are like next to me. I'm like, if his dad looks over and reads what I like, just like peeks at my page, he's gonna be like, Brian, you have a dirty freak. Like, so I literally like had to take a deep breath. I went in the other room, and Brian's dad was like, were we being too loud? Like, are you okay? Like, being nice, like being like, I'm sorry. And I was like, no, I was like, you guys are fine. I was like, I'm just at a serious part. And I have to be over. Like,
I just have Brian to not be next to you.
Yeah, he was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was just like, Brian, my book is so slutty right now. I was like, I cannot read this in good conscience next to your father. Like,
it was just, and it also is like, Rhys is the perfect amount of like bad boy, flirtatious with the right amount of respect and love. Like, it's like, you're not too loving, like how kind of like Tamlin is, how it's like love bombing, overbearing, crazy,
annoying.
Insane. Yeah, annoying. And it's not like the bad thing that you're like, this is not good for her. She should not be with this guy kind of deal. Like, he's a perfect balance and just a stunning character. And I'm so obsessed with him. And I honestly cannot say more about Rhys. And I feel very true to myself that even during that first book, I was like, this is the one.
Yes. No, and I loved Tamlin throughout the first book. Like, I was like, I love Tamlin, but the second Rhys got involved, I was like, fuck. Like, I love them both. And I texted one of my friends who I knew had already read it, who was like, keep me updated throughout your journey. She was the one who was sending me. She was like, don't search anything. If you want to see pictures of anyone, ask me. I'll send it to you. Like, she was doing a good job of making sure I got like the full experience. And she was very, very good at not giving anything away. Because I texted her like towards the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I was like, am I going to get canceled for saying this? I was like, why am I in love with Rhys? I was like, I love Rhys. And she was like, oh, he's so arrogant. He's so annoying, which was perfect at the time. Cause I was like, okay. So like, she really does end up with Tamlin. I was like, fine, whatever. And then it started going and I was like, Rhys? And she was like, haha, you know it. Yeah. But like, that was perfect for me. And that's what I was trying to do with you. Cause I didn't want to let on to how much I hated Tamlin while you were still reading it, because I wanted you to experience like the ups and downs of everything.
Yeah. And I remember even saying to you, like, I didn't have an issue per se with him yet, but like I just didn't know how I didn't love him the way that Feyre loved him. Like, I didn't feel that same way. And then I think even when I started A Court of Mist and Fury, I was texting you and I was like, please don't get married. Please don't get married. Like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want this to happen. And just all those parallels, though, like you were saying, like meeting them for the first time. And when he's like saying he's like going over everything and like explaining to her, like every single move that he did was because he knew that he loves her. It's like, oh.
Oh my God, and when he realized that Claire was a real person.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, he has that very, like, humane quality about him.
Yes, and like, I see why he has to have the persona that he does. Like, in their world, you need that edge. So, like, I get it. But like I've seen some TikToks like to this day of people that are still like not on board with Reese. And I'm like, how? Like literally how he is the most perfect book character ever. And I would do anything for him.
Oh
You know,
my
I
God.
saw one girl being like, why do we forgive Reese, but we don't forgive Tamlin? Like, da-da-da. And I was like, did you read the first book? Like, did you see what he did to her? Also, ignore everything else. What happened under the mountain when Reese nearly sacrificed his life to make sure that she was okay? And Tamlin just sat there like a sad fucking puppy.
And when they were talking about that, like being under the mountain, and how Reese was so pissed off that he's like, he would have rather spent that time having sex with you or trying to have sex with you as opposed to trying to get you out. He's like, that's like, that was my last straw. And I was like, no, you're right. You're so right, Reese. Like that, like that. And it's just, I adore that man. And I'm just thrilled that they are indeed mates. And I'm so happy. Like when she told the king to break the bond, like I genuinely would like, if you guys want to see bits of me reading the end of this book, I have it on my TikTok. And it is like I literally go, no. And I was like, no, 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 no. Like I can't let this happen. And then when they like cut later and you find out that they are indeed not technically like married, but like she is the high lady of the night court, I literally went, yes. Because I was like, oh, they're still gonna be connected and they're still gonna have that connection with each other. And I'm like, thank God. Thank God.
I made the mistake. I had like 120 pages left of Mist and Fury. And I was taking my lunch break and I get an hour for lunch. And normally I don't take it. Like normally I'll go pick up my lunch, but like I'll bring it back to my desk and I'll eat. And like I'll work slower, but like I'm still present. I'm at my desk. Like I never usually take like a formal lunch break unless I really need like a decompress. And that day I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Honeygrow. I'm going to take my full hour and I'm going to read as much as I can. And then I'll finish it when I get home. I literally had to end up staying late at work because I took an hour and a half lunch break and I finished it in my car sobbing in the middle of my work. Like I could not put it down because it's just like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, I felt like I was getting like wrecked. And I was like, I can't just like go back and be a functioning person without knowing how this closes.
No, I literally, because you said you will not move a muscle.
Yep.
Like that's what you said to me. And when I was talking to Kat about it, she was like, you're gonna wanna like do this. Like you're not gonna want to stop.
Yep.
I literally finished work. I did not move. I picked up my book and I started reading. And I just sat there to the point where I was planning on making dinner for Michael and I before I left for kickboxing, and I wouldn't have been home until like 8:39 p.m. I read through that entire time and I looked at Michael and I was like, I'm sorry. You got to make your own dinner. I got to go. Like I was like, I'm so sorry, but I had to finish reading this book.
Yep.
It just all of a sudden it was like, load the gun, pop, 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 finish, let it go, load the gun, pop, 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 and I was like, oh, I was standing up. I stood up at one point when they come into Valeris and start attacking, and when she kills it's the Ator or the Ator, whatever.
I think I called it, yeah, Ator.
I say Ator, but I think it's the Ator. I think that's okay. But anyway, when she's up in the air and she's just like, this is for Reese, this is for my sisters, and she was like, and this is for me. I stood up. I was like, yes, yes. I was like, oh, and it is weird how sometimes female protagonists are like kind of annoying. And Feyre, I never feel like that she is being annoying or anything. Like, yes, she has her moments where like you wish she was doing something else or, you know, so on and so forth. But I've never felt like I hate her. And like she's so just like not doing what she's supposed to be doing. She always does what she's gonna do. She's a badass.
Yeah.
And that moment I was just like, she is wonderful and utilizes her powers in such amazing ways. And I adore it. I adore it. It's wonderful. It's fantastic, and I love it.
God, and it just gets better and better.
I have a few things. I have a list of random things that I
Okay.
wrote down. Lucian and Elaine was not anything I was expecting. That was random. Like, so first of all,
Also,
so
the moment that it happened, I was like, Lucian,
I was
right
like, this
now?
is not the time. Yeah, no, incorrect. This should not be happening. But just the fact that they were like, these fucking bitch ass queens coming in here trying to be all young and shit, so dumb. And when they were like gonna throw Nesta and Elaine into the cauldron, I was like convinced. I was like, Elaine's dead. Like, Elaine is not gonna survive. Nesta will, but Elaine's gone. And when they said Nesta came or Elaine came out and she was Faye and like what, I was like, oh shit, like, oh, she's still around. And then Lucian going over to her, I was just like, what is he doing? And like I was just like, okay, random. And then he was just like, you're my mate. And I was like, bruh, what? Huh? Like I genuinely was just like, what a random fucking thing. And like a little bit too speedy. A little bit too speedy.
And also, like, that just shows you the difference in like a boy and a man. Because like Reese knew Feyre was his mate and let her figure it out, let her accept it. Like he held it in and put her first, let her go through all of her things until she was ready. And then there's Lucian who's like, oh, your whole world just got fucked. You're literally, she's engaged to a human. She just became Faye. And he's like, oh, by the way, you're my mate. And she's like, die.
Also, like, she's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know. She doesn't even know what's going on. She's fighting for her life on the floor.
And then her other sister. Yes. Her other sister's about to get, like, Lucian, move.
And like, honestly, I still like Lucian. I think it's annoying that he is so loyal to Tamlin. I don't like that. But like, I can tell he may or may not flip at some point. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have a feeling, because right now, as I've started Wings and Ruin, like, he's trying to figure out what Feyre's doing, because he's like, I know you're not telling the truth, but he can't prove it or knows what she's doing. And I'm like, I respect that, like, he's onto her and like is like, something's going on. And like, they're still friends. That's the thing. It's like, yes, he should have helped her out and when she was basically dying within the spring court, but like, his hands were tied. And again, I'm not making excuses up for Lucian, but at the end of the day, like, they're still friends and they still, like, Feyre still has that like relationship with him. But I don't know. Now that he's connected to her sister and this and I don't know, but something's gonna happen. Also, Kat told me that some people don't like Nesta, which I don't understand.
I don't get it either. I personally
love her.
I'm obsessed with Nesta, and I honestly think you are going to be one of the people like me. Like, Kat loves Nesta too, right?
Yes.
I think you're going to be very, very, very team Nesta.
I think she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's a fucking badass bitch.
Yeah. And I could see the chemistry brewing between her and Cassian, and I feel like that is a perfect match. Like, Cassian, it needs a woman like her in his life. So it makes a lot of sense. I'm also patiently waiting for Mor and Asriel to fall deeply in love with each other. I don't know why she's not giving him the time of day, but I'm sure it will happen at some point. But I'm like, talk about a fucking slow burn. God damn. This man's been waiting centuries for this. Yeah. And the only other thing I wrote on here was Tamlin is stupid. Fuck him.
Did you actually write that word for word?
Tamlin is stupid. Fuck him.
Tampon.
And that was all of my thoughts, at least towards the end of the book.
You know, all of your thoughts are appropriate. And I'm just so excited to continue on this journey with you.
We will probably be doing this segment every single week.
Yes.
Until I finish the series, most likely. And then I will probably end up reading more books that you've read. And then maybe you'll read books that I've read.
Yes.
And we'll just have a fun little book talk segment at the end of every show.
Yes.
Where we're talking about the books that we're reading.
Yes, I am currently reading The Perfect Marriage. This one. I don't like it. I do not like it. I'm like 110 pages in, out of like 330. And I'm the type of person, like, I just need to finish it. Like, it's not bad enough for me to do not finish. I just like, I don't like the characters. It's written a little cheesy. The story, like the plot is great, but like just the way, it's not my cup of tea. But I'm getting through it. And then I have, I think, 3 more after this. Then I'm getting back into fantasy. I'm reading Divine Rivals, which is like a duo. It's Divine Rivals, Ruthless Vows. And then for the entire rest of the year, it's the rest of Sarah J. Maas's available discography. I'm reading everything she's ever touched because I'm now obsessed with this woman.
I will be, I think after I finish this series, I'll probably read None of This Is True.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Only to catch up with you too, because I've had this book now since Christmas and I haven't touched it.
Yeah, Sam literally recommended this book to me, told me the general plot.
I've not read it.
I finished it. I'm now re-recommending it back to Sam because it was so good.
Yeah, I've not read this book yet. I just got it for Christmas and yeah, but I
also have to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Okay. I will read that as well. Okay. And then more fantasy series, I have constantly been recommended Fourth Wing.
That's on my list. I'm gonna go through Throne of Glass, which is Sarah J. Maas. I've had multiple people tell me that I'm going to like Throne of Glass more than A Court of Thorns and Roses. And if I do, I can't see a world. These books, the characters are my friends. Yes. I think about them every single day, and I can't wait for you to finish because the memes on TikTok of these books are so fucking good. And I scrolled past every single one while I was reading, even if it said like it's from A Court of Mist and Fury, and I was already like on Silver Flames. Because I was like, God forbid, I don't want any spoilers. But the second you are done, I'm going to send you all of them, and you are going to cry laughing because they're unreal.
There's a few that I've seen already that when I do see something that even if it's like a filter, like I will scroll past it because I'm like, I know I don't know all the characters yet, so I'll scroll past those. But like there was one that I saw, I think you might have reposted it. But it was like recent during both Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury, and it was like, fuck your boyfriend or something like that. And I was like, this is great. I'm like very happy to be on this side of TikTok now. But I do scroll past a lot of stuff because like you said, I don't want to get spoiled or anything. But yeah, Fourth Wing was something that my friend Erin has actually recommended to me. She said she's already read it twice.
Oh my God. Now that, as of right now, Fourth Wing is just 2 books, right?
And the third one I've been told is on its way.
Okay.
But yeah, Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame. Yeah. Very similar, like, but it's like more like kind of think like Game of Thronesy. Like there's dragons and stuff. But she was like, you have to read it. And I was like, okay, if you read Court of Thorns and Roses, I'll read Fourth Wing and then we'll meet up in the middle. And she said, got it. So
I think after this, I'm going to be sucked in and just be like a full fantasy girly because I'm trying to read like a mortal thriller and I'm like, I feel nothing. Like, where are the wings? Where is the steamy sex? Like, where is war? Like,
where is war? I literally the way that woman writes like a war scene, I was like, and I'm not a war read, like I would never think that I would be like interested in it, but the way she writes it is like I'm in it.
Yes.
I'm deep.
You know, I'm like a fan of war books now.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk?
But yes, we'll talk more about A Court of Wings and Ruin next week. As Taylor Swift once said, reading is fun.
Reading is so fun. And if you love reading and if you love us, make sure to get. Why does I sound like I'm like ending a child's like program?
We're actually an hour and a half long infomercial. So
literally for A Court of Thorns and Roses. Sarah J. Maas, sponsor us.